Hi there. A few days ago, a subscriber sent me a message and she was really frustrated. She was frustrated by her options and her choices for seed starting mix. And she had purchased some Jiffy mix and it just wasn't working well for her tomato seedlings at all. So while it might be a little bit late to talk about seed starting mix, I thought we would go ahead and do it. There's still a lot of planting time, a lot of time that we can grow many new seedlings, and so I thought I would go over some of them. Now, my friend's concern about Jiffy Mix is shared through the industry. Other things that, other types of soil that people have concerns about would be Miracle-Gro and the Burpee seed starting mix. Those are found readily in your department stores, so often we think, oh, this must be good. If you do a quick web search, you can say, what is the best seed starting mix? And depending upon the information that you see, you may say, oh, it's Pro Mix or it's another type. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that I never used seed starting mix until this year. I thought, well, I'm having these videos, I need to do it the right way. And I too have experienced some failures using seed starting mix. So this experiment is going to be really fun for me. What I used in the past was Sunshine potting mix. I just get it from Menards. It's reasonably priced. And honestly, I never had any failures whatsoever. This year, with trying seed starting mix, I've had some problems germinating. My tomatoes, the large canning size or slicers, my eggplant, my cabbage, just isn't germinating. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set up several trays with different types of seed starting medium with the same seeds, and I hope to treat them with exact same conditions, and we're going to watch those grow, see which ones are doing well, which ones we just never ever want to work with again. Now, what I have in front of me is a do-it-yourself type of seed starting mix. I remember back in the 60s and 70s my mother making something similar to this. And so you know that you can do it on your own. Now, they say online that it's much cheaper. Honestly, with the size bags that I purchased, it's going to be about the same amount as any other seed starting mix. But what you have here is the control over what you want and how it works. And so what we start with is a peat mix. Now, this is going to help with water retention, and it's going to give the plants a few nutrients to grow. You can substitute coco-coir for that if you want to. And then we've got perlite, which keeps the soil from getting too compact. It looks like popcorn. Gosh, it feels a little bit like styrofoam, and it looks like styrofoam. But it keeps water retention, but also it keeps the plant from getting, or the soil from getting too compact. And then we've got vermiculite. It looks like mica, which is actually in the name. And so the vermiculite helps with drainage and airflow. So you have two things that help with water retention, and then you have another thing that says, wait a minute, I need some space in here for some air as well. And the final thing I have is worm castings. And this is an optional item. Worm castings are truly from worms, and it is a natural fertilizer, basically, that won't burn your plants. Everything is a 1-to-1 ratio. If you're using coco-coir, it would be still the same thing. So I have 8 quarts, 8 quarts, 8 quarts. And then you use about a cup of the worm castings. Now, I did look up worm castings because it's something that I don't have, I don't use typically, but I wanted to use it for our example today. And it says that you can really not ever add too much. If my family would let me, I would probably have a box of worms here so that I could have my own worm casting, but maybe we'll do that in the future. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and I want to make the do-it-yourself seed starting mix. And all I'm going to do is pour each bag into this tub. not a bag, but just a cup. And that's my worm castings. And then I'm just going to mix this up really, really well. And so for the next part of the video, I'll have this mixed up really, really well. And we're going to start looking at the consistency of the different soils that we're going to use. All right, until the next part. All right, we're ready for the second part of our video. In front of me, you see 6 different seed starting mediums. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over each one, and then I'm going to talk about what I'm going to plant in each of those. So what you've got in here is Miracle-Gro. This is not organic, and I normally wouldn't buy it, but I did for this video because this is what is available to a lot of people. And so if that's the only thing they have to grow with, then I wanted to try that. The next one is called Black and Gold, and I have been using this. It replaced my original seed starting mix, and I've been having a lot better luck with it. The original product that I used was called Dairy Dew seed starting mix. Now they have great garden soil, and I don't discourage you from using that product, but for my house it just didn't work. My basement where I grow is 35% humidity, and the soil just dried very, very quickly. I couldn't keep enough water on them. It dried inconsistently, and so that's a product I won't use. I also had to use humidity domes for everything just to try to keep that moisture from drying too quickly. So I have started using the Black and Gold, and that's been much, much better. You will see that I found a little bit of debris in this particular mix. And remember, we want to get that debris out of your soil before you plant your seeds, because it can create pockets of moisture. And that can create mold. It can create it inhibits the growth of the roots. So you want to do that. The next one I got, and I was a little bit surprised, I have Pro Mix. And when I look on the internet or I listen to other gardeners love Pro Mix. This is not readily available this year in my area. I had to order this. But in most years you can find Pro Mix. But there was quite a lot more debris than I expected. So again, make sure you take that out. Coast of Maine gets really high ratings if you web search it. So I ordered some of this just to see. It wasn't too bad as far as expense-wise, but it too has debris in it. So make sure that you take a look at that. Now, so far, I've thought that these are all very pretty. And then I get to the homemade seed starting mix, and I think it's ugly. But we're going to try it. We're going to see what happens. If I had to guess, I would say that I don't like how much of the perlite is in this, but we'll see. And then we've got Whitney's at the end of Whitney Farms. And this is new to me, and it has a lot of debris in it. I don't like the texture of the soil at all, but it may surprise us. So what I'm going to do here in a little bit is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reseed the things that didn't grow well, which would be cabbage, which is amazing because cabbage usually grows really, really well anywhere, anyhow. Eggplant did not grow well. My slicing or canning tomatoes did not grow well either, so we'll be planting those. We're going to plant tomatillos, both purple and green, because we love them and it's time. Also, broccoli rapini, or asparagus broccoli, a lot of people call it. We're going to grow that because it's time. We're going to do a second round of okra. My family loves okra. We look forward to freezing it and pickling it and doing all kinds of things with okra. Basil, because you can never have too much basil. And a new one for me this year in the mustard family is this Red Shiso, S-H-I-S-O. I learned last year that I love mustards and lots of different kind of mustards in my salads. And then we're going to go ahead and do some flowers, asters, zinnias, and calendula. So in the next part of the video, I'm going to show you that I've planted all of these items and in each of the trays and how I did that. I also want to show you how I moisten the soil before I plant, so we'll get to that next. Well, that was quite a chore. I have completed seeding all 6 trays. Each tray has the same seeds or seed type in it, and we're going to just see what grows best in each type of the seed starter. Now, as a control, I have labels on each of the trays. It tells me which soil I used and what kind of plant it is. I'm really excited about it. I will tell you that when I was working with these, the coast of Maine smells good, feels good. It accepts water really well. I would not be surprised if that's not my favorite, but you never know until the growing happens. My least favorite was my homemade mix. It's just really rough to work with. It doesn't feel good on your hands. But we'll see. Again, things surprise me all of the time. Now, I did tell you that I was going to show you how I mix up my soil and how I put it into trays for planting seeds, because that's changed since the beginning of the season. I used to pre-soak everything, so I'd put soil into the trays and then I'd water them from the bottom and let that soak up. And I don't like doing it that way anymore. So I've still felt out of control. And so what I have started doing is I will make a tray of soil like this. I think I picked Coast of Maine because I liked it so much. And I'm just going to pour water in there. And then I'm going to play in the mud. If you make it too muddy, then you can add more soil to it. If it's just right, that's cool. So sometimes you have to add a little bit more to it. And what you want is something that is moist, but not sopping wet. So I don't want to be able to pick this up and drip water from it. I actually just got really lucky the first time around. So not too wet, not dry. You want that to be moist enough so that your seed will have what it needs to start to germinate. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take this and put it into my container. Press down lightly. I don't want this loosely packed, but I don't want to push it down so much that it would be hard to actually plant a seed into it. So I want to be able to make sure that there's some space in there for me to put in my seed. Now, I don't have any seeds with me right now, but what I would do is I would press down 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch, depending upon what the seed type is. And then once all those holes are made, I would put 1 or 2 seeds into each space. I'm a 1 seed kind of gal. For our experiment today, I did use 2 seeds per cell. Wanted to give this a real fair shake. If I had a bad seed, I didn't want it to not germinate because it was a bad seed. But I do have my holes now pressed into this. I'm going to place a seed or 2 into each one of these holes. And then I'm just going to take my moistened soil and I'm going to put it over the top to cover the seed and those holes. I think that's it. Some of these are tomatoes and eggplants. I am going to have to take them out of their trays or the designated big tray and put them on heat mats. But they are labeled, so I won't lose track of those. All right, I'm excited about this experiment. I hope everything grows. Then we'll have way too many plants. But that's really great because that's gifts, and I love to do that. All right, until next time, thank you so, so much.